Very politically driven. Because clearly the right's got a lot of us up in arms in various ways. Some are just looting needlessly, some are invading people's homes, and others are just arguing about everything and anything. It's like we really need to stop all that and start thinking logically about how we can move forward in a positive fashion on what is now occurring not just here, the Middle East, all over the world. So ladies and gentlemen, this is my first piece tonight, and it's called Propaganda and Lies. So folks, really, when you think about it, doesn't it seem that through life, propaganda and lies are fed by those guys who wear corporate ties? So don't be surprised if your life seems contrived. The systemic rise of divisive styles has been long designed by those who reside in places with houses they painted in white, or those numbered 10, where they and their friends keep feeding us lies again and again. See, it's all a pretense. Their calls for defence of the realm while they're at the helm is something the masses now needs to dispel. Because it's quite clear, they're just helping themselves. Propaganda sells, just like they talk smells of something that stinks, something prepared in their public speech scripts. The type of lyrics I try not to enlist because it's all about tricks to make the masses live in poverty so that their brains overload. No Old Kent Road, or getting past go. Well, what do you know? My lifestyle's so quick, while theirs seems so slow. Well, ignorance leads to your pain and toll, folks. Government polls are clearly bankrolled, so what did you do with your power to Virge? Fall for their lies? Well, I think you may find you jumped on the wrong ride and now it would seem you are paying the price, right? Inflated gas hikes, no good schools for your child, or homework for them, and you wonder why we've now got these problems. Our leaders, folks, conceal and are not home-filled, so we're not the real deal. But feed propaganda with punch like Evander, while lyrics sunrise and keep biting. Ow! Like Tyson, which clearly is why most people get frightened by wordplay I use that proves that I'm shrewd. What I'm saying to you is to dissect the news and government views. Don't let them confuse the rules that they use. Political coups are used as a ruse to keep you from seeing what really is true. They complete disregard for public issues. Does that affect me? And does that affect you? If you turn around, it just becomes net. Well, the trap's not been set to keep people down and wearing a frown unless you are wearing a wig and a gown. And clearly, of course, all these unknown clans. So how does that sound? Am I lying to you? Or am I just trying to pass on some truth about propaganda and lies leaders use to give themselves powers who trust they abuse? See, the poverty gap is all part of their plan. Immigrants this and immigrants that, their words divide masses and widens the gap. While they plan, rubbing hands. See, communities that are filled with peace rely on unity, which in turn should then mean that they no longer need heavy-handed police. Now, capitalists are just new age fascists, or yes, you have guessed, new age separatists. So, who are the benefits from all this? Please think about this, folks. Before parting your views. If we hate each other because of our colour, or because of pride that we should put aside, these people in power just sit back and smile and keep passing laws that ensure that the poor stay right where they are. Are you with me so far? The rich just get richer and watch the rest wither. Because of the strain of flights of our place from riding on trains, the bills we must pay just to maintain a life less restrained. Well, that's what they'll say. So let's check that, okay? Working longer days to earn higher pay, so you can get a break. Like a nice holiday. But travel these days can now create pain. Terrorists they can play maybe on your plane, so you now need a break after your holiday. It's all part of the game, folks, that's run by these snakes. Clearly are fake. I think it's time, ladies and gentlemen, that we call time on those running our lives through their false diatribe, propaganda and lies. Okay, folks, so there is the first Can I read something to you? Is that okay? Do I need to be performing it? something a little less maybe provocative then, but just as meaningful to me anyway, because I think the riots has basically given people a very clear perspective now that communities that are in trouble need some kind of, how can I put it? I would say solvent. We need to be connecting our communities more. Not, you know, I live in Big Taylor Lane. Nice part of it, right? But then, you know, 5 minutes away from where I live, we have, you know, the kind of council social housing that makes me think, good grief, how can people be so willing to just ignore those who aren't where they are and look down at them as if to say, well, you lot are rioting because blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, but let's get one thing clear. People have different opportunities in life, as we know. I'm never going to be one to shy away from racism, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to talk about it because I don't believe it's gone. Just because we have more people having children from different backgrounds, it doesn't stop racism from occurring. Okay? So this was something that was supposed to be commissioned, but again, money issues, you know, people get funny. And I wrote this just to let you know how sometimes my work can come to me. I was asked basically on a Friday morning, could you do something for communities, Virgil? Would you mind doing something for communities? I'm like, well, what do you mean? Well, I need something that talks about what we should be doing with our communities. So I said, okay, cool. I'm going to Sweden for the weekend. Leave it with me. By Monday I'll have something done. By the time I got off the plane, when I hadn't got off the plane, when everybody else had, the stewardess said, excuse me sir, are you coming back to London with us? And I was like, sorry? Because I was so busy writing this. Anyway, let me share it with you. This was written on the 19th of May, 2005. Communities and connections, ladies and gentlemen, okay? The thought of communities interests me because communities need unity. If they're going to succeed in keeping the peace, peace and love can create harmony. Harmony creates peaceful streets, streets that require less police, because police are required too frequently. Police need to recognise how they be, because harassment of youth can upset their chi. They need to feel free to be who they be without always fearing brutality. This comes from patience, more race integration, more workshops for them. They need education on how our youth are, black youngsters and Asians and youthful Caucasians, racists need removal from our police stations. That wasn't a dig, but abuse of the law makes most people sick, and this can bring trouble when dealing with kids. Communities need to fight off division. They need positive leaders with singular visions. People who listen to statements with missions, not people who have narrow-minded opinions. From groups run by Muslims to groups run by Christians, don't use your religion to build a partition. Use your religion to unify children, because unity is what most people are missing. We need education that feeds information to help us avoid social deprivation. There is no excuse for children's starvation. Private investment can save populations from discrimination. Forget the PlayStation. The games of today now need alterations. Investment is needed in real recreation. Sports clubs and parks. This isn't the call, but please hear my heart, because those who don't listen remain in the dark. This piece has been written for people's protection. Crime does need inspection. Our youth need direction before they end up hearing some new section. Because violence can lead to psychiatrist questions. Violence is spreading a deadly infection. The cure, folks, is prevention. Peace is a word that deserves one more mention. I hope what you've heard inspires reflection. So to those who've heard this, reflect upon this. Communities won't grow without strong connections. Okay, folks. Just one more piece for you. It's hard work. I really don't think people understand. You know, sometimes I do, and I really do mean that, and we're laughing about it, but people, we've got to be clear about this, you know. When American artists come, because I'm a hip-hop man, right, That's you right, yeah. Reggae, bit of hip hop, that's me, you know? Like hard beats, hard conscious words, not 50 Cent, not, you know, Jay-Z, even there's another name, well, some Jay-Z. And even when we look at British artists like Tiny Temper. Okay, folks, I know some people, yeah, he makes nice music, but for me, not enough. Social talk. Talk about things that, you know, he's come from. The grime lot, forget it. You're not going to get me to listen to it. It's not going to happen, okay? I do like classical music. I do like rock. I do like lists. I do like other things, okay? I listen to everything, but I know where I'm at. So, the final piece is kind of, I don't know, a reflection of a lot of things that to me, we all expose. We all talk about how different we are. We all say, yeah, I'm different to that, I don't do that stuff. And yet, in essence, if we are to be honest about things, we are each other's image. One people, one race. That's how I view things, until you show me otherwise. Then I'm going to show you that side. That one. Right? So I'm saying, differences, folks. We've got to get past some of them, I think. So this piece is called Difference, and this is what I'm going to end you with. So you can pause at the end now. Okay, so do the things people say really make any difference? When at the end of the day, most display indifference. Indifference towards promoting a cause like reducing wars and corporate fraud to ensure that the poor suffer less than more. See, apathy reigns in many brains, just like cocaine inflames membranes. Nowadays the game's become a strain, which I guess is why indifference flies like chemical highs that now supply submissive and illicit minds. Indifference in those causing problems. Check the news at 10 and you'll see the effects. Bullets to head, stab wounds to chest, parents upset because their children face tough tests. Radical men inciting trends that lead to violence and death. And let's not forget our government friends. What they submit to clearly fuels divisive crews to make different moves that do make a difference to me and you. Views that lead to racist views. Political coups bred to confuse. Issues used like Looney Tunes without the jokes when what they do leave people broke. Blackened and blue and drained of hope. Let those words soak into your pores. Like suds of soap, indifference strokes like roasted dopes of ignorant whores whose thoughts are flawed. See, that's a big Virge quote. Built to choke weak throats. Ali awoke while Joe just smoked. Frazier for those too young to know. See, figures like these from history made a difference to me because of how they made me feel, which I guess is why my poetry floats like butterflies and stings like bees. But who do the youth look up to now? Sporting thugs who now take drugs, or rappers who put up front about their guns they shoot for fun? Since when was that defined as fun? Shooting a gun to see blood run from another human? Well, here, folks, is my stance. Some rappers truly should be hung, then unduly burnt with their guns well done, because their words do affect young herds and do make a difference to younger ones. Young attitudes provide clear proof that raps consumed do affect some youth. Some think it's cool to now be rude, and fear is used as like a tool to threaten and abuse. Like governments do. Do you get the link? Take a minute. Gangsters come in many forms. Those in suits may not perform, but when you think about rappers and government heads, ask yourself, these, are they that different? I'll let you decide while I use my rhymes to be your guide to a place where minds become more wise. See, they'll sell their souls for a large bankroll. Do you really believe everything that they say? It's pretty clear nowadays that governments thieve and rappers deceive just to get paid. What happened to the good old days when MCs ruled and made their name without false claims to earn their wage? It's all a game of different strains. Indifference claims so much today that I'm afraid it's now too late to rearrange and make a change. See, girls are now indifferent to advances from men, which pretty much ends in the chance of sex, or better still, love, kisses, and hugs. While men now sex, and girls are tense, so now they too are indifferent then to trying to woo. Most now want sex, without the stress of women who use periodical moves as their excuse to hurt them. You see, these are things indifference brings. Our differences are unique gifts, not presents that we should reject. Ladies and gents, it's time, I sense, to connect much more and separate less. So many divorce from life's problems that when they come, they get struck. Life's now not fun because we've run from making sense of nonsense fed by governments who feed us stress and reduce our attempts to stand against their dud concepts. Please, ladies and gents, heed the words, yeah, that I have said, and I merely suggest you try your best to make. Thank you for listening.